Time being 7 o'clock, I'd like to call to order the Somersworth Historic District Commission meeting for Wednesday, February 25th. And on the agenda, the first item is approval of minutes of previous meetings. We've actually got several, a couple of subcommittee meetings and our December 18th regular meeting minutes. We have a motion on that.
I make a motion that we accept them.
Microphone on.
Sorry. I make a motion that we accept the minutes.
All three.
All three. All three.
I'll second that.
We have a second. All those in favor of the motion, raise your right hand. Opposed? All right, motion passes 5-0. Second on the agenda, we have projects of minimal impact. Ms. Mears?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chairman. We have no projects of minimal impact this evening.
All right, moving on to public comments by visitors. Do we have any visitors that would like just to make public comments about something that's not on the agenda tonight? All right, moving on to old business. Do we have any old business before the board? Seeing none, new business. We have Alsher Family Trust is seeking a certificate of appropriateness to construct a shed on a property located at 36 Winter Street in the residential single-family A with historic overlay district, assessors map 11, lot 138, HDC case number 4, 2026. And Ms. Mears, do you have any background on this?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chairman. The applicant is proposing to install a 10 by 12 shed, which will be constructed of plywood with vinyl siding, with 2 windows and shingles. This had to come before the historic district because it's 120 square feet. This is ready for the board to take action.
All right, do we have an applicant here for that? If you don't mind, just state your name for the record and make sure the green light is on the microphone.
Hi, Benjamin Alcher, representing the Family Trust.
All right, and if you don't mind, just give us a little overview if there's anything else you'd like to add.
I mean, I think it's hopefully fairly laid out in the application. I will add that we're new homeowners. We just moved to the property in October, so nice to meet you all. Happy to be in the city, and actually did not know we were in the historic district until this project sort of came about. It was not disclosed to us by the previous owners. So, hopefully everything's okay.
All right. We normally ask if there's any abutters that want to speak for or against this, so I'm just going to do that briefly, but I'm assuming we may not have any here tonight. Is there anybody that would like to speak for or against this? So with that, we'll just keep you up here, and we'll go to questions from the board to discuss the application. Ms. Berry?
I don't have any questions. I know that our preference is that the sheds try to mimic as close as they can to the style of the house. I think this having a gable roof on it, I think the couple little windows that are double hung, I'm going to be in favor of this. I have no problem with this application.
Any other questions or comments by board members?
Thank you.
All right, I'll just chime in, and looking at the placement, it looks like it's going to be behind the house.
Correct.
From the street, so
Yes.
more or less out of view for the most part, hard to see either way. Also looking at this, just because we try to look at the historical integrity of the buildings, and this isn't anything derogatory towards your house, but it is on the lower end of the scale there, so just some houses have been altered and lose their historical integrity. So I don't think it would be harmful in any way to what we're here to, preserve. So with that, I don't have any opposition to this either. And again, if there's any other comments, if not, maybe Mr.
You make a motion to accept as presented.
All right, do we have a second? Seconded by Ms. Berry. Do we have any discussion on the motion? No. Seeing none, all those in favor of the application, raise your right hand. Opposed? Motion passes 5-0. Your application is approved.
Thank you very much.
Welcome to the district.
Welcome to town, yeah.
Thank you, everybody.
Have you seen the historic survey of the property?
I believe it was sent to me.
Okay.
Yeah, like you referenced, that it was, I think, in that, where it said it was.
It's a series of
It
pictures
was
and
about 40 years ago. It was, funny, that was 1986. It was actually my birthday on Monday. 40 years. Yeah. Thank you.
Perfect. Thank you. All right. Next on the agenda, we have Kurt Stallsmith is seeking a certificate of appropriateness to renovate a chimney, replace windows and a door, and amend side entrance on a property located at 15-17 Maple Street in the historic moderate density district, assessors map 11, lot 131, HDC case number 6, 2026. Ms. Mears, do you have any background on this?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chairman. You should have all received my memo regarding this application. The applicant is proposing to complete the following improvements to the second house on the property: window relocation and replacement, replace porch entrance with sliding door, update the side entrance slab with addition of granite landing, and a removal of the chimney. The applicant did provide a very detailed set of plans for review, and this is ready for the historic district to take action.
All right. Do we have an applicant here for this one? Again, if you don't mind, just state your name and give us a brief overview if you feel you need to add anything.
My name is Kurt Stallsmith. I don't think I have too much else to add aside from what's on the application and the blueprints that you guys have received as of right now. Yeah, that's all I have as of right now.
All right. I'm just going to, again, ask if there's any public that wants to speak for or against this. Seeing none, we'll just keep you up here. And is there any questions or comments by the board? Mr. Mativia?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. The application was very well prepared, and appreciate that, the detail in the architectural drawings. We don't usually get them that well done. That's very much appreciated. The concerns that I'm going to have is really the exterior modifications, and I'll point out that in your historic survey that your home and homes are very good integrity, rare example of house reaching its wood clapboard siding. It's nice small Greek revival, common to the district. Goes on to talk about how both houses were moved there between 1877 and 1887. And the original of 3A is of unknown origin, but 3B was moved here from Berwick around 1880. Very great history and very well documented. I bring that up because part of your application is clearly to replace the windows, relocate those windows in different locations, and remove the chimney. And conveniently for me, the previous applicant that just left was, his integrity was poor integrity, diminished by replacement windows in altered locations. So it would be contrary to what this board is to preserve if we were to allow a house of such great integrity to be immediately degraded based on previous examples. You also discussed that you wanted to remove the chimney. I can see that there's a need for it. With current heating systems, chimneys are on their way out. Not many people use them. And it makes some expensive real estate within the building valuable for realigning a kitchen or a wall, or whatever the need, a staircase, I believe, maybe even part of that, right? However, your application is including to remove the chimney and simply sheathe and roof over the hole. And I'm not going to support that maneuver either. We've not allowed that in the past. And in fact, one of your neighbors, just down the street, did the same thing, and I can show you these two pictures here, which are examples on Linden Street. Those aren't even real chimneys, but they were put in replica because similar reason, the chimney was taken down, boarded over, removed, and they had to put it back. And you can't tell from the grade level, and I don't know if the people on this board remember that application. It's right up the street from your house, actually. So we have history of this board not allowing chimneys to be removed. Windows being relocated is kind of a no-no, and in fact, we have evidence of when it does happen, it diminishes the integrity, which is the exact opposite reason why this board exists. So the other parts of your application to put in the patio, granted, fix the porch, because it's going to be back into the style and design that's there now, just redone. I don't have a problem with that, but I would not be in support of this application as presented, especially of the chimney and the relocation of the windows.
If you'd like to address any of that, we will certainly allow that. And
On the point of the chimney, I understand wanting to maintain it. It obviously is relevant to its historical time period. It is in very poor condition. I sent a couple photos over at one point. On the third floor, you can actually see it goes up straight, and then as it comes to the roof line, it actually takes a pretty acute angle as it comes up into the roof line. This has led to some water damage within the house that's been mended several times, and has continued to cause some water damage. You can see it kind of throughout on the chimney as well. And the chimney itself is right up against a lot of structural wood that's very old and is at risk of a fire hazard. So, I mean, we had talked about most modern systems are not going to use the chimney for exhaust on it. But it being there does provide me with a little bit of concern as far as preserving the property to continue standing long term with it. I am not a structural engineer. I'm not somebody who can speak all about that. But I can look at it and know that it just doesn't look like it's going to be standing for very long without some significant work being done to it. As far as maintaining something on the exterior of the property to give this facade or whatnot, like the other example had to do, I have no problem with that. I'm open to that. If it's something that gives sort of the appearance, I 100% understand that and would be willing to do something along those lines. I'm more concerned about what's within the actual structure and what that's going to cause long term for the property.
The internal mechanisms of the home layout is not within our privy.
Sure.
We're looking for the historic accuracy and presentation of the building. It's the faux chimney that this home put up met our requirements. They removed and deleted that chimney and only replaced it from the roof line up with fake. You can't tell. And so if you're open to that, if that would be an amendment to the application to be replaced with a replica, non-structural, and but to comment back on the bend in the chimney,
It's pretty common.
I come from a long line of masons in my history, 3 or 4 generations worth. It's very common to bend the chimney to miss the ridge, to go out one side or the other. So it may have been actually constructed like that on purpose. But not seeing it, I can't answer that.
Fair enough.
But it's not unusual.
Not a mason. I don't know these things.
Ms. Schoen?
So I would echo Tim's thing with the chimney at least. I'm at 125, and the house to the right of me, if you look at my house, just put a fake chimney up, and you don't really notice that it's a fake chimney. So I have 3 of them. I recognize they're leaking and they're problematic, and absolutely I don't have a problem with you taking it down as long as you put something else up. Your proposal said let's put a cupola up, but that would really not be in keeping with the character of the house that you have. So I would support an amendment to say, please let me tear the chimney down and I will put a cupola up. I kind of also echo Tim with the pieces of the house. I'm not great about looking at the plans. I don't love the sliding door because that, again, changes the whole real character of that house. Unfortunately, you bought an old house and you're in the historic district, and I don't necessarily support that. I'm still struggling to figure out which windows you're trying to delete and which windows you're trying to add, but I will trust Tim when he says that he doesn't approve of those either. When I look at these drawings, I thought when I read your application, and again, I have no building experience, that you were essentially gutting the whole house and reframing most of it, so we were going to lose all of the drawings don't show the trim work and the extra things that I think are appropriate, and the columns in the front that I really value for your house. So I would certainly be opposed to any changes to the columns or to the front entryway, which to me are the character defining features of your house. I would be less concerned. It looks like you want to do something to a window in the very back of the house that's facing essentially the wood line. I don't have as much concern about that as I do about the sliding door and the other pieces. But
Sure.
again, I'm kind of unclear. If you felt like you wanted to walk me, the uninitiated, through your plans as to what windows were going and what windows were staying, I might actually have more to say.
So
If I can just chime in on that for a minute.
It's okay.
So it sounds like the chimney might have a potential solution discussed. I don't think we need to dwell on that, but the windows. Yes, absolutely.
correct.
So I guess if we did, focus on the windows for a minute, just to try to keep discussion organized, maybe take one facade at a time and just help explain what would be changing on each one, and that way we can wrap our heads around it.
Yes.
I think I have it, but just so everybody's on the same page.
No, that's fair. And I'll do my best too. I am also not an architect by trade, so I'm going to do the best I can with it from what I got from my architect.
And if do you have a copy of these plans in
I
front of you?
do. I
that
have
you
a
can,
couple printed out copies.
yeah, so
as
you can reference those so we know we're looking at the same page.
well. Yeah,
Perfect.
sorry. That'll actually, let me see if I can figure out which page.
I see a page in the bottom right.
There was a historic review document sent to you guys, and it has just 4 pages to it, and it's mostly focused on the windows themselves. I don't know what it might be labeled to for you guys, but on the, I can bring one up to you and I can show it to you, see if you guys have that
Is
Is it these guys?
one. No, I'll just walk. Just like a historic review.
Yep. So yeah, I see it. It shows before and after essentially. So yeah. So
What page
like
is that in our
right here, we
stuff?
get a page number. This will help us reference so we all look on the same page. Thank you.
SK1.
Which is near the back of the.
Okay, got it. Thank you. Okay.
So SK1 is referencing the street forward face of the property. That's showing that there are 4 windows, 2 on the second floor and 2 on the first floor. On that side, we were planning on trying to move and consolidate into 1 window on the right side, just to allow better light within the living room space on that floor. So that was the proposal for that facade of the house, or that side of the house.
And that's the front side of the house?
That is the front side of the house facing towards the street.
Thank you.
Yep. And then on, just get my pages in order here real quick. SK2 is facing the porch side, or the side facing towards what would be, I think, 19 Maple Street.
And it also would be the driveway side of the house.
The driveway side of
as
the
you
house,
look down
correct.
the driveway.
Yes. That has 4 windows currently, or sorry, 3 windows current, nope, 4 is correct, and a doorway. The proposal is to enlarge 1 window on the porch side, into the sliding door that we had discussed, and then removing and moving the 2 windows just before the porch into 1 window further down towards the street side of the house. That is due to internally, that small window you see right before you go up the stairs is currently into a bathroom. That bathroom is going to be renovated, made into a closet space, and those 2 windows are now going to be into like a walk-in entrance to the property. So I was trying to get some more natural light into that hallway that is currently very dark, and that was the proposal on that. The upstairs window on the second floor, the single one up there, is just going to be replaced, but not moving or any way, just being updated as far as not allowing drafts or anything like that in. On SK3, which is showing the backyard portion of the house, that has 3 current windows. The proposal is to move the central window on the first floor in the middle and offset it to the right, as to get into a new bedroom that will be on that floor. The current floor plan has the wall that is going to be put in down there, kind of coming directly into that window as of right now. So that was kind of the reason for moving it for that reason. It's just going to be right up against where a wall is proposed to go at this point. And then we went over 1, 2, and I think on SK4, there is no plan to move any of the current windows on SK4. There's one window on the first floor, and there are 3 windows on the second. Those windows are just being updated, but are not being moved or removed in any way. And that is the proposal of all windows on the property as of right now.
Thank you. Do you want me to go, or you want? I'll go again.
And if you have more questions, I'll let you go, but otherwise I see Miss Mary looking
I
to
can let
speak.
her go first, then I'll go again.
Miss Mary.
All right, so I want to talk about a few of the elements. We'll stick with windows because that's what we just went through.
Sure.
So for what makes this kind of hard is these kind of styles of houses, not mulled windows, are common. Like they were individually spaced. They didn't have mulled windows at that time period. It was very uncommon to have them mulled together like that. So I wouldn't have necessarily a hard time if you wanted to do windows like you're proposing, but I would want them have space in between. My other issue would be, I think you have a good example of this on your current house where on the the right side, you have 2 windows that were filled in, but the actual openings, you could tell there were windows there. So I'd also be in favor of, if you're going to close a window, to keep that surround so you could tell there was a window. Sometimes we'll have false windows put in where the wall inside is in front of it, so you can't even tell kind of idea. I'm curious where the other board members fall with that. But for me, I think my biggest problem is a mulled window. And I know that's hard to say because it looks like at some point a mulled window is allowed to be put in this house. So that's where I get a little hard saying I don't like the mulled windows. But the mulled window is on the left. It's not the front of the house. I think the front, for me, is the one I have the hardest time with because, again, it kind of comes to this architectural style at the time. I'll just kind of mimic some of the other things that were stated. Chimney, I'm okay if you get rid of it, like do the whole chimney, but I would want a faux chimney put back because, again, that's a defining fixture of this time period, that one chimney near that gable. The doorways, I'm not as concerned about a slider because, again, it's not on the front facade, it is on a side. But again, I kind of come with, I like the idea of, again, leaving that where you could tell there was a door there, like whether the molding comes over. It's more about preserving what was there, even if we are changing it. So if people want to go back, they could go, there was a window here at some point.
Understand.
I'll leave my comments there at this moment.
All right. If you want to add in anything with that, if not, I'll go with other.
No, I have no issues with any of those. That sounds fair to me. I notice even on my front property has those as well. There were windows here, enclosures. I always didn't really know why they did that, so it's interesting to hear that that's like a preservation kind of point. It's kind of interesting to me. So,
If you don't mind, just I'll get to you right afterwards. I do like where Laura was coming with this same comments that I wanted to kind of express. Obviously, the very back wall, SK3, you know, I understand if there's a wall going into where the window is, it's nearly impossible to have that window there. So I could see the reason for moving that. It's on the back. I have no problem with that one particularly. Obviously, there's really no changes to the SK4, which would be the right-hand side looking at it from the street.
correct.
The front, you know, I guess my thought on the front is if we could keep the front the way it was, because it is the one that would face the road. I know it's kind of tucked behind the house still, but looking down the driveway, it's probably the one wall you can see the best, or one of the two that you could see the best, I should say. And then that side where the porch is and the door would be changed. You know, I like the idea of maybe preserving those openings and putting in the windows because, I mean, you do already have that example on the other side. I guess it wouldn't be out of character. You could almost argue it was all done at the same time if it all looks like the same features added in. So I'm kind of tossed up on that one. At the same time, like with the sliding door going in, I don't know if that would interfere with the framing of the original door. You know, I would almost be okay with losing that door. It's in under a roof. It's probably a little harder to see. Just my thought, it looks like that framing would encroach onto the original door. So, you know, to put up just a half a frame seems foolish. If it had the whole frame exposure still there, I'd probably be more in favor of saying, yeah, let's maybe do that. So just my quick comments on that, and then if you want to respond to any of that, I'll let you, but otherwise I'll move on to Michelle.
No comment.
All right, Ms. Nguyen?
Thank you. Yeah, I have similar reservations about the front facade being changed. That's where I think I see you'll have a wall for the stair, and you can't really move your stair further into the roof slope. I would actually suggest maybe that existing front opening could be infilled the way the ones on the side were, and keep the other opening that's existing in that room. And maybe you want to consider opening one of the ones on the side to let light in there. And that way you could keep those 3 openings that are original to the building with just kind of plugging up the one next to the entry door because it hits your stairway wall. That would be because I have the same reservation. My reservation is mulled windows don't seem appropriate on this building. And on the side facade, I worry a little bit that if all 3 of the old openings are infilled and you've got 3 new openings, it's going to look really choppy. I wonder if the new double window, I know it's the stairwell there, but you know, it's not really a living area, and you do have a glass door on the front. I wonder if those are really necessary, and maybe also, you know, if you kept the other 2 are in rooms where they could stay, the ones that you're proposing to infill. The closet, you can put a blind in the window, the one, or infill it. The one in the shower, obviously, is always a headache for people. I don't know. I mean, I don't know if you've considered just keeping those windows. Like, it might actually be, they're not necessarily windows you want to have, but they would keep the facade feeling historic on the exterior without kind of chopping it up so much. I also don't love the sliding door, but I wouldn't like. I think with all the other, if all the other things were fixed, then I could get over that one.
I do have one question. I do not know if you guys know the answer to this because I don't know the answer to it. The small window right as you go up the stairs, I don't know how original that is to the house in and of itself. It just doesn't appear to be very original, but I am not an expert on that. The bathroom that it's in was added on at some point later on from the previous owner. And I'm imagining that window was added in when that bathroom was put into place. So that's the one that I have the biggest concern with because it just seems out of place even on the facade. I have less concerns with you guys' concerns as far as the windows go, aside from the ones that are kind of like in structural areas where we're putting in walls. That small one is the one that I don't really get, and it doesn't seem like it was original, doesn't seem like it was part of the house to begin with. I think it's a kind of an eyesore looking at it. That's my only one that I'm like, I really would like to get rid of more than anything. The other ones I'm very open to, you know, moving or keeping as, you know, the term for the window, the mold windows.
Yeah.
I'm not as sold like it has to be a mold window or anything like that. I think that was an aesthetic choice. But I'm open to changing that. I'm not sold that I have to have a mold window. I'm very open to whatever would be more era appropriate, as long as, like I said, it works with the structural layout as far as the interior design. I'll keep whatever windows need to be kept. It's just that small one that I'm more concerned about than any other one, just because I don't like the way it looks personally.
So that small window you're referencing is on the SK2, the side of the porch?
Correct, yes. It's just below the second floor window.
Yeah.
And it's page 6 of 8 on our, it does look like it maybe was a replacement window.
Yeah,
It does, the molding looks
it
odd.
is certainly out of place. So you're saying skip framing that in, like still get rid of it, but skip framing it in,
Yeah, just essentially
cover it
put
over.
new siding over top of, or whatever siding over
Just one more quick question. Is this going to still stay wooden clapboard on the outside?
it. Yes, I have no plan on changing any.
Okay,
any
so
on
the exterior materials aren't changing in any way. You're just changing some windows. Okay, that's why I thought I had read. I just wanted a lot of information here, so
Yeah,
I'm just making sure
understandable.
on the same page there.
It's a lot for me too.
So with that, so let me just sum this up as where I think we might be in discussions at this point. On SK2, the side of the porch,
Correct.
maybe deleting entirely the old door frame and that small window so that like there's no previous proof they ever existed. They just get sided over.
Mm-hmm.
But frame the window that you're getting rid of and siding it in like it is on the opposite side, so you can tell there used to be a window there.
Sure.
And then put in the 2 new windows in the slider. Is that kind of where-
Yes, the 2 new windows, but like I said, not being mold, if that's the concern with the mold windows.
That's what I was going to talk.
Okay.
I'd be in favor of not doing a faux fill-in for that small window because I agree. I think it's a later addition. It's not conducive to that style. I think, again, to your point, it was probably added in. And I'd be okay with, to your point, Richard, the door I'm not as concerned about because I think, again, historically, people would understand that. There was a door there. I'd prefer French over a slider, but that's a personal preference. Either one I probably can be fine with. But yeah, I think if you kept those 2 windows separate, I wouldn't need a fake fill-in for that one on that elevation at all, to be honest with you, as long as they were not a mold window there. But that's just me personally.
Ms. Schoen?
I would agree with that. I would agree with the slider. And if you wanted to put a second window in, I would leave the big window that you have and then give some space and put another big window. That way you have some light in those spaces. I really don't like the mold window. I'm not going to vote for a mold window right there. My biggest issue is the front. I don't necessarily love what you want to do with the back, but I understand it is the back. I would like you to leave the framing of the old window so people can see that was, if you look at the way that back is, it's a very triangular pattern. It's a very thought out pattern. I don't think I'm going to object because it is the back. My biggest issue is the front, and I don't feel like I can be supportive of any changes on the very front of the house. I just don't. So I definitely not supporting a mold window. If you look again, it's a very classic window pattern that you have, and I don't see a way to preserve the character and the integrity of the house with framing those in. Certainly not a mold window. I just don't see that as an option.
Mr. Batavia?
Thank you. With all due respect to my colleagues here on this board, I am really against any relocation of the windows, especially of the infill and leaving the framed infill to represent the window. It wasn't terribly long ago where we were adamant against that with Lydia's House of Hope and a window that was on the porch. We forced them to install a faux window in the same location when all they wanted to do was infill it too. And I think that set a good precedent, and I'm not going to try to budge on removing that precedent. So I am against the infill of the windows. The location of the windows chosen where you wanted to move them is a design issue. The interior was designed with the intent that these windows could be moved, and therefore this design works. The original staircase has been replaced in the design phase into a new location with this new stairway. And the layout of the interior is based on the architect's interpretation of what would work in that space, not in taking into consideration the existing location of the windows. That architect made the assumption that those windows will just be relocated because it makes this layout work well. I think the architect should have acknowledged that this was an historic building. The windows need to be taken into consideration, and the design of the interior balanced around the existing windows. So I'm not in favor at all of the relocation of the windows, nor the mullion, or I'm not in favor of a sliding door because that would never have been in an 1886 home. So that's just my opinion, and I'll let the other members decide.
If I have just one question for you, that small window, are you still also opposed to that one as well?
That is a true afterthought at some point, probably before the historic district was a thing. It doesn't fit the character or the architectural style it anyway. I don't nothing, no problem with that at all. But the biggest problem was you're here to manipulate the window location only because you had a design that didn't take those windows into consideration. And that's where I'm drawing the line where the designer should have. And I'm not sure if this designer was aware that these windows are a historic feature of an historic home. He had a footprint, something to modify that his client liked, you, and this works well. Just get the windows to be moved and it's all good. But I don't believe a consideration of the design was taken into in regard to the window locations. Those are almost like givens, and as a designer, you need to work around what you're given versus manipulate what is technically not in his control. So.
If you want to respond at all,
No, I understand the want to preserve the history and the appearance of a historic home. This is an old home. This is not a new construction. And I am not an architect or a designer. I'm very open to whatever compromises can be reached to just make it look.
If I might just to reiterate the initial statement I began with of the previous applicant, our charge here is to preserve, and at one point in history, the previous applicant's windows were relocated, moving his decently integrity valued home to low integrity. And I don't want to support lowering the integrity of this home.
Understood. Yeah.
Question? Oh, sorry.
Ms. Berry.
I understand that this is a lot of drawings and we've thrown a lot of information at you. Is there any way that you might be amenable to rethinking some of this and coming back, or with like some of the things we've talked about, whether it's keeping them where they are or taking some of the other suggestions that have come out where it's no mold, like how would those look if you don't have the mold, or just because there's quite a bit happening. I'm just curious where your thought process is, because if we come to a decision tonight, it's a lot of cross out, question, okay, what's acceptable, what's not acceptable, is it, kind of thing. So I'm just curious where you're at with what's been talked about.
I have no issue with going back to my architect and just ask. I know the windows are kind of the big concern. I am not as strongly opinionated on the windows. This is what I asked for redesign. I got this kind of redesign, and hearing the concerns about the windows, I'm fine with kind of revisiting that and being like, what can we do around that? What can we change? What can we not? My bigger concern was that chimney more than anything. And if everybody's fine with the faux chimney, that takes a lot off my shoulders, and I'm more than willing to revisit all of the external stuff happening as far as the windows go. I'm fine with running that by my architects and just saying, hey, what can we do? What can we change? These are their concerns. What other options do we have or ideas do we have?
Just a follow-up. It will be quick.
Ms.
Was your
McKee,
architect aware that this is an historic building in the historic district?
Yes, I had made them aware of that.
Ms. Mears?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chairman. I would like the board to give the applicant some direction regarding the sides of the building and the windows on whether those can be replaced or not. It sounds like the board might be split as far as that is concerned. So I think that would be helpful for the applicant to know whether those can be replaced.
Yep. So just clarification, thank you for being amenable to coming back, because if we can certainly table this, let you make some adjustments and come back under old business next time. That's one option. The other two options are either to approve, maybe with conditions, which could get very complicated, or just outright deny it and you'd have to resubmit. So, having you make alterations, come back next month would certainly be the easiest for everybody, I believe. And it sounds like you're willing to do that.
I am willing. I need to just check with my GC as far as his plans for his work goes, just because I know we wanted to kind of start attacking that chimney, and I don't want to do it without having everything set on that.
Yep.
So that was kind of more my concern, is making sure that I'm not screwing up his schedule at all.
So
We give him preliminary approval for the chimney?
I was going to say we might be able to approve a small portion of it like that. We'll discuss that in just a moment.
Okay.
But, I just wanted to see what her comments were before we get into this discussion bigger. But I sounds like this could be a good avenue to go. So
I was actually going to say, I think we could give you preliminarily approval to take the chimney down, because as long as you're willing to put a fake chimney up, I don't think anybody's going to fight about that.
Okay.
I think the other thing is that we're in agreement that the window that is the non-conforming small window that was put in late, when you're making your new plans, you know that that one can go. You could probably take that out. I don't think anybody's going to fight about that. I think you're seeing a lot of differences on this board with the other windows in the slider. Maybe you want to look at French doors. You know, Ms. Nguyen thought about that, which I wouldn't be opposed to either. I think it would be a better look for this house. You know, and you may have more board members next time too, so.
Stevie again.
We routinely take applications for replacement windows with some consideration of grill pattern and sizes of lights. So it would be erroneous for me to say that you would not be able to replace your windows. That's not what we're talking about.
Yeah, I understand that. Yeah.
Miss Berry?
For me, I understand where Tim was coming from, where with the Lydia's House of Hope example that we had a faux window put in, I don't remember them offering to do like a casement around where that window was, but it could just be my memory. Part of me, I'm okay with doing a case around, like is demonstrated in this house already, because again, at least it lets people know what was there. If it does disappear, they understand that there were originally windows. For me particularly, in request of Ms. Mares, I'm not in support of any mold windows, but it sounds like you're amenable to that. If we can keep the front facade windows where they're located, I'd be much more in favor of that. The side elevations, I think depending on what you come back with, I could be amenable with one moving or not, just based on houses change, purposes change. But I think the front facade is where I'm going to be a little bit more of a stickler. And those are my notes. I don't know if the other board members.
If we all want to take a turn and chime in, maybe we can find a consensus to better direct you.
Sure.
And if there's still some ambiguity there, we'll work through it. How's that?
Okay.
So I would agree. The front window, the front facade, I think is, you know, if it could stay original, I think that's where I would really prefer the biggest alteration from your plans. Obviously, the right-hand side, you're proposing no changes, so there's nothing to discuss there. The very rear one, that one window moving, again, it's on the rear. I'm okay with that. I wouldn't be opposed to that. So really, I think the question comes down to that side with the porch, with several windows and a door change. I guess I could go either way on the door. I'm not hard and fast about saying the door has to stay because, again, it's kind of hidden by that porch roof structure. So I'm not hard and fast saying I want to keep the original door. I'm not saying I would be opposed to it, but I could go either way on that one. The window, the small window, absolutely, if it goes away and goes away completely, no visual history of it ever being there, I think I'd be okay with that. On the side, on those two larger windows, you got two mold windows at the moment. I guess if you went with one or two, I don't know, I guess something that kind of looks, they're a little smaller in height. So I guess if it went back to the original size, maybe, whether it's one or two, I think I could go either way, is kind of my gut feeling on that. I know it's a little wishy-washy there, but I guess that's the way I'm looking at it, if that helps. And I guess if everybody else chimes in, maybe we'll have a consensus and give you a better direction of what you could maybe propose and hopefully come back and get a approval on the next one with little problems.
Mm-hmm.
Mr. Mativier?
I'd like to make a motion to divide the application into three components, one being the chimney to be removed, one being the small window to be removed, and one, the installation of replacement windows in different locations. So I'd like to move to have this application divided into those three segments.
I would second that. I would actually add a fourth part though, because it sounds like he's got windows that exist that he just wants to replace in kind, and we could probably give him that information tonight as well.
So I like how you've proposing to divide this up. We've actually got 4 listed on the application. So as they're read, we've got window relocation replacement. Obviously, that's kind of a mix here. Replace porch entrance with sliding door. So that would be something that we would table for now. Correct? As your
Well, we have to vote on that. But
yes.
yeah.
And then update side entrance slab with addition of granite landing. Is that for the porch structure?
No, that is for the street-facing SK1, if I'm correct here. Let me just double-check that I have the right one.
'Cause I think we've overlooked this, so I.
Yeah, I think we got distracted by a call. Yes, SK1, the entrance right below that door there. Currently, it's just a slab of concrete that's not really conducive. It's a poor height, and you
Okay.
trip over it all the time.
All right, so I still think what his motion is going to work here. I just want to
Sure.
make sure we're not missing anything or doing this incorrectly. So, and then the last thing is remove chimney. So basically,
I'd be open to that friendly amendment to the motion to break it into those 4 components.
okay, so if that's the case, we would be looking to potentially approve the chimney removal.
So I believe the method of order would be to approve or deny,
Mhm.
or the applicant chooses to not have that particular component heard and asks for it to be tabled to be heard again.
Yeah.
So we have 2 choices, approve or deny, or allow him to ask for it to be heard again.
So with your motion to break this up, whereas we could break it up along these lines and tackle each one.
Correct.
So I'd be looking for your motion on, is there any of these that we can just take right off the table now with an approval?
I think we would need to do a vote on all 4 as separate, almost like separate applications,
Yep.
but they're not, but
So I'll make a motion that we approve the removal of the chimney with a replacement of a,
I don't know that we can take another motion unless you're seconding his.
right,
while
the
there's
motion
one on
was
the
to
table.
divide this application into these now 4 parts.
so I'll second that.
And then we can tackle each one, yes.
We're missing a part in yours, so I'm going to suggest an amendment. Where do you want that granite slab to be added?
Isn't that part of those parts?
It's one of those 4, so.
But I didn't
he
hear you
originally
say
had-
it as part of one of the
Yeah,
4.
he originally said 3, but when I looked, we had like 4 breakdowns of it.
Right,
so that's
Richard,
why-
would you please repeat the 4 parts?
So the 4 parts would be window relocation replacement. That's covering all windows, no separation of them out. 2, replacement porch entrance with sliding door. 3, update side entrance slab with addition of granite landing. I think that should really be the front entrance. I think that's why it's a little confusing, because it's
Yeah.
really the front facade. And then 4, remove chimney. So those would be the 4 sections that we could.
I would concur dividing it into those 4 locations.
My only concern with keeping the replacement and then the relocation separately, partly I feel like the board might be okay with splitting those with relocating windows versus just replacement straight up windows would be my only thought.
Yeah, so by separating them out, I think we could approve or deny these 4 separate pieces individually.
We could take a look at the windows and then amendment with amendments,
so-
the conditions rather.
I see where you're coming from. I think with the windows, it'll get into a bigger discussion on that motion, and maybe it gets divided out more as to what's approved, or maybe the whole window thing is tabled.
First, would the applicant be in favor of dividing the application?
This applicant is in favor of dividing the application.
Okay,
Good choice.
so we have a motion to divide it into 4 sections as listed here. Do we
I'll
have a second?
second
We have a
that.
second by Ms. Schoen. Any discussion on that?
I'll just repeat that I feel like the board is okay with replacement in kind windows, so I would kind of like those in its own section, so we don't hold that part up and then start cutting another section where we could just put it in 5 right away, but that's me.
Any other discussion on this motion? Ms. Nguyen?
On the point that that Laura just raised, I would ask, would you ever split the window order? Does it matter? because the only advantage there would be that they would order some of the windows before others, and I don't know that that would even help them. I think you would order them all at once.
I have really no opinion on the mat.
Just turn around.
Okay. Okay. We'll go with you.
Okay, then as long as they're fine with it all at once, that's good.
All right, so the question is we're voting on the approval of the motion to divide this into 4 sections tonight to be voted on independently. And it's been seconded by Ms. Schoen. So all in favor of dividing this into 4 sections, raise your right hand. All right. Obviously, nobody opposing that, so that motion is passed. So we now have 4 sections that we're going to look at. So
I make a motion that we approve the demolition of the chimney, provided that it is replaced with a fake faux condition chimney from the top up, so that it looks similar to the chimney that was previously there or that's going to be removed.
do we have a second on that? We have a sec. No second, or yeah? Okay, so
That's part of discussion. You don't have a second yet.
yes. So if you'd like to second that for discussion. So we have a second for that. Discussion on this motion.
I can discuss, or unless Tim wants to go first.
No, I would vote to approve with an amendment, condition rather, that the condition of the faux chimney be of a material and style and nature that mimics the brick that is currently there. There are a number of products that touch, smell, feel like brick, but they're a tenth of the weight, and they're easily to mimic a chimney of that style. So my condition would be to mimic with style and material of the existing chimney.
Is the applicant allowed to ask a clarifying question on that? With similar material, is it just the appearance of similar material, or are you linking to have actual brick? Because you had talked about having like lighter weight materials that are available.
Not familiar with the brands now. They were called briquettes once upon a time, and there literally were real brick that the faces were sawed off thin and applied almost similar to tile and then grouted. And it's very, as far as chimney weight goes, it's very light. But that's what I was thinking, but it has to be similar.
Gotcha.
I think in the past with the faux chimneys, and again, some of these board members are here, I think we've allowed a fiberglass as long as it was cut and could not be told that it was not individual bricks. So I don't want to get too far down to like what that material is. It's more of it must look like
Understood.
brick from the street, but it could be fiberglass, it could be a faux brick, it could be, there's been numbers of materials, so I don't know if Tim got too specific in his request, but I'm just saying as long as it appears as a brick chimney.
That was my concern, just the appearance as far as it didn't have to be real brick.
I think that neighbor was a real shaved brick, and they actually built it on the ground and stuck it up on the roof.
I think we had 3 or 4 faux chimneys since I've been on the board, so that's why I remember a fiberglass one. I remember a couple.
The point of my condition is that it looked like what's there from the ground.
Understood.
Any other discussion on this motion? All right, is there any amendments to this motion? Well, you did actually make an amendment to the motion.
I made a condition.
I was going to say, can you reread it? Because I just want to make sure I'm clear about what that exact motion was.
So the original motion was to remove the chimney with the installation of a faux chimney. Then the discussion got into the material. So I haven't actually had a motion on the material side of it.
Well,
just discussion of it.
It seemed like we're running in circles. The
So we need an
application, when it
amendment
was
to the motion.
divided in 4, was to remove and roof over the chimney. So that's remove the chimney with the condition that it be a replicated chimney be installed in its place.
Yes.
Well, Kim, this was your motion to approve this. So my question to you is, do you want to amend your motion to include what type of faux or
Need anything more
material?
specific than just a faux chimney, I guess is where I'm going.
Fine, I'll amend my motion to say that to include a faux chimney that mimics the chimney that is there in material and style, so that from the road, the chimney that is replaced looks like the chimney that was there. some fashion.
And
Google
Ms.
away.
Nguyen's second is still good. Any more discussion on this motion? All right, seeing none, all those in favor of this motion, raise your right hand. All right, obviously none opposed.
Check.
So your chimney removal and faux replacement is approved.
Can you hear something on the granite steps? Because we haven't really talked about that, and that also might be easy pickings. We like granite.
Yes, so with that,
State.
Nice, we like it.
so with that being said, is this just a granite platform, basically?
I think it's essentially,
a slab, or?
if I can see it, I think it's better visualized from SK2. I think it shows that there's 2 steps there, but there's really only 1 step. So it's essentially just making it getting rid of the concrete that's there, putting granite, and putting like an additional step to make
So
it.
it's like a
more-
granite slab with 1 granite step in front of it. Is
Exactly.
a good way to describe it.
Exactly, yeah.
Beautiful. I make a motion. It's getting late. I make a motion that we allow the replacement of the existing concrete step with granite. 1 step, 2 step to be in keeping with the look of the building and the age of the building, which granite would be.
Perfect.
Doesn't have to be anything sexy, right?
Was anything else part of that breakout? It was just that?
That is it on that.
Okay.
So
I will second.
we have a second for that. Any discussion on this motion? Seeing none, all those in favor of this motion, raise your right hand.
You got 2 things down.
All right, and obviously none opposed. So that one has been approved. Do we want to tackle the porch entrance door, because that seems smaller than the windows,
Sure.
next? So the third piece that we'll discuss is the replaced porch entrance with a sliding door.
I make a motion that we deny that as presented and request that the applicant either decide to table or that we deny it. I'm not in favor of the door as presented. It's on, it's just not close to me.
Can the applicant just say he wants to table that one then?
The applicant could say that. Please
I would like to
table.
table the sliding door on the porch.
All right, do we have a second on that?
No, if we need, he's tabled.
Well, I was
I'm not sure, what's the rule?
motion. You usually don't make a motion to deny.
Yeah, we do.
Am I wrong about that?
We would make a motion to deny if we did deny it. So, yeah, I think if we're tabling it, it's,
It's a motion to continue to March 25th.
Okay, I make a motion that we
GC meeting.
continue this at the request of the applicant who's asked to table it to March 25th.
all right. And then, so,
Second, do we need a second?
Yes.
yes, because it's a
And then
motion,
We're all
so.
going to vote in favor. We're tabling that
So
one part.
Mr. Mativia is seconding that. Any discussion on the motion?
I'm just curious, like, I know for my information, and I'm assuming for the applicant's information, I threw out French door. I don't know, where's the board kind of sitting to give a little bit more guidance to the applicant? Is it strictly we don't like the sliding? I just feel like I'm a little confused. I can't imagine how
no.
he feels, so.
Fair enough. This is to try to give you direction.
Understood.
So obviously, if you're looking for a motion to delay that, you would like to see some sort of change there.
I would. I would be open to a French door that's got some period features, because these houses may have had a French door. They would not have had a slider.
Understood.
I'll just weigh in and say I'm kind of on the fence on this, so I know that's not being a help to you.
Right.
It's just where I sit on this. And if we can get everybody else to chime in to help give direction on where this would go. Mr.
Yeah, I'm also on the fence. I mean, I think my first preference really would be to keep the existing openings. I think in any case, whatever kind of door it is, it's weird that it's in a bedroom. So that's probably how you got where you are. Is the bedroom is located where it used to be, an entrance to the house. So it's a tricky situation.
Just curious, what is this door going to enter into when it's constructed?
It'll be a bedroom on that floor.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mr. Mativia?
I'm going to go back to the design aspect. This is a licensed architect who obviously has training in historical preservation at some point in his education. As far as his design is, I think it was easy to put the slider there. So I think seeking his guidance as to what would be period accurate and still comply would be helpful for you.
Understood.
All right. And do we have any comment from Ms. Berry? I can't remember if you already commented.
My comment was to give further clarity from the board, because I was confused.
Okay. So would you like to weigh in on your direction or thoughts?
I
on it?
already did. I said I was okay with French.
Yeah, sorry.
As a clarifying question from the applicant, would it be helpful for the board to have several options from the architect, or do we want to have just one kind of finalized option when I return? Or do you want like
Options
or
would
two.
certainly make
Okay.
it easier, I think. Not, I don't think we need a long list, but maybe 2 or 3
Sure.
would be a fair thing to ask.
I would say for this board, if we don't come to a unanimous, if we have options, we can usually narrow it down to one, so you don't have to go back again and then come back again. Is
Understandable.
normally helpful.
Does that give you good enough direction?
Yes. Yes.
All right, so I believe that was a discussion on the motion. We already had a second. So this would be, no, to table it until March
Continue.
25th. The discussion was to give him direction for when he comes back, March 25th. So all those in favor of the motion to continue this until March 25th, raise your right hand. All opposed, none. So again, that passes. And the last one is the window relocation replacement.
I will make a motion to continue until March 25th with the understanding that if you're not ready for March 25th, it can still go to our next meeting.
Understood.
I don't know how fast this will come back, so.
I think you would just need to contact us to ask it delayed to the next one,
Okay.
continue
Good
it
to
or
know.
whatever, but yeah. Do we have Mr. Matavia as a
Again,
second?
this is a strong conversation that the applicant needs to have with his architect of the integrity of the window locations is paramount. Perhaps redesign of the interior would be warranted. But again, it's not about simply replacing the windows. If you have a design or wanted to just replace them, when you return, make sure you have that available for us.
All right.
I don't think we have a second yet.
Yeah, I was gonna say, was that a second?
was on.
Okay.
Oh, I thought we were discussing, okay.
We were looking for a second. I thought you were
Everybody
seconding
forget
it.
everything I just said.
I'll second, and we can just move to the discussion that just happened. Just rewind. I'll
So-
second.
So with your second,
He discussed.
we'll,
And then replay my discussion that really just happened, so yeah.
just so we do this
yeah.
properly.
Again, the conversation with your architect would be prudent.
All right, so Mr. Mativia's weighed in. Would anybody else like to weigh in on the windows?
I
Ms.
know
Barry?
we kind of glossed over it a little bit, but double hung, as you go back, I know they were mulled double hungs, but again, double hung is appropriate for this. I like that you were going to continue the 6/6 in most cases, just for clarity and preference. I in agreement to that, just for further guidance on that discussion.
Understood.
Anybody else would like to weigh in? Okay, I'll just weigh in just to reiterate what I believe I heard, and you can probably agree or not agree, but I believe the front facade was, I believe most of this board was in favor of keeping it original. The right-hand side, obviously, there's no changes to. The back one with the one window movement, I believe I heard most of the board seem to be okay with that change. And then the real question comes to the side with the porch towards the driveway. I don't know if I can give you a clear consensus on which way to go there.
Understandable.
If you have questions, I certainly encourage you to ask them now, because I'd rather give you clear consensus, or at least an idea of where to go with this. So if you do have questions, I certainly,
I think the in my mind, the best compromise on that, you had already said that small window. It sounds like the board is fine with that small window going away. My biggest concern, if it's in the mold window being another thing, just moving that window down, the one that's originally there right now, it's the just single one, moving it down a little bit further, because then it will be in that new hallway that's going in there. That would be more of a compromise I'm willing at that point. It's more the location of that one. And I know with some of the other parts of the house, the windows are very strategic as far as like trying to, elicit some sort of geometry or such. There's a triangle on the back, the offset of the 4 on the front. That single one off by itself doesn't seem to really have any sort of placement that's like in a historic kind of offset or trying to elicit anything. So moving that, if it's just like, hey, just keep that one window, but move it to an area that's a little bit better to allow light into the new space, I'd be okay with that. I don't need to necessarily put in a bunch of new windows or anything. But I'm open to discussion from the board if it's like that window is there for some sort of historic reason or for some sort of design element.
I'll just chime in. I don't see personally a problem with that. I know these windows were a little shorter in height, maybe back to the original size. I'd be more in favor of. And if anyone else wants to chime in response to what you've said, I would encourage it.
For me personally, I think I'd be okay with one window or two within that spacing. Again, not a mold. It would be very similar to like that front first facade where you have the two. I could go with either, to be honest with you.
Okay.
But I think that's where we're a little more divided.
Understood.
Any other comments?
I wouldn't be surprised, just looking at the flow of your house, if there's a window hidden under that siding that you just don't know about. Because if you look at just the balance, that's a long side to not have a window.
It does seem out of place.
I wouldn't be surprised if there's a window underneath where you kind of want to put one, that maybe they blocked window up and put that other little one in for the bathroom when they did that. I would be open to actually putting a second window evenly spaced on that side, because I think it would give it a better balance, because right now it's out of proportion with the dormer, which probably was also, we don't know when that was added in, but I wouldn't be objecting to that if you wanted to put a second, because it sounds like you want more light on that side.
Yeah.
I'm totally against a mold window there.
No, understood. Yeah. The mold window is not my hill I'm dying on, so it's fine.
Any other comments from the board here? And then to the applicant, has that helped you with some direction moving forward?
Yes, yeah, that's given me a good thing to go back to the architect with and come up with better plans on.
Awesome. And I believe we're going to vote on this if we don't have any more comments. And I would just like to say thank you for your working with us on this and your open-mindedness. And
Keeping the collaborative is very key, so thank you for that.
Yep. No, this has gone very well, and we like to see them go this way. So thank you very much.
Try not to be argumentative.
All right. So back to the motion at hand is the continuing this until March 25th for window changes. All those in favor, raise your right hand. 0 opposed, obviously. So again, that motion passes well. So just to finalize this, the chimney has been approved. The side end, or the front entrance as I call it, the granite landing has been approved, and everything else has been continued for March 25th.
Understood.
Perfect.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you very much. Have a good evening. We'll see you next month. All right. I will have to make some notes on this for the paperwork, but otherwise, I've got them already jotted down already. Next on the agenda, any other new business before the commission? Seeing none, workshop business. Ms. Mears?
I would just like to thank the Historic District members that came to the last planning board meeting that we had regarding the master plan chapter for the historical and cultural resources chapter. I think it was a really good discussion with the planning board, and I'm looking forward to see what Stratford Regional Planning Commission comes back with for the goals and objectives. So thank you to the members that came. And I think you should have all seen the survey results as well as part of that. We sent those out.
And they were also posted up downstairs, I believe, in the lobby. And I would like to also thank the planning department for arranging that so that we could work with the planning board and have that discussion, because I think that makes a better result in the end when we do collaborate with different boards, because obviously we all look at a different aspect of it, but they're all so interrelated as well.
I thought it was very productive. I think the people from the Regional Planning Commission have a lot of fun doing that. They seem to be enjoying themselves a lot. It seemed to reiterate around the room that we all, air quote, got into it. So it was well received.
Any other discussion on that topic? All right. While we're talking about workshop business, obviously we've had our subcommittee meeting. We've been meeting just prior to our regular meeting. We just had one previous tonight discussing fire escapes, and we're hoping to get into demolition as well, but we got stuck on fire escapes. We've got some questions that hopefully Tim can answer, maybe regarding.
I was informed prior to the meeting beginning here that I sent an email, but
yeah,
it wasn't sent to
question.
my home email, so
Yeah,
It was sent
could
to
be.
Metcode.
I'll double check, but I didn't see it yet.
May
Anyways,
not have gone through, so I'll check because I was in
yeah,
the.
it was
Laura
just
telling
before
me
this
that it
meeting.
was
So
a dead zone, so I may resend it.
but yeah, we're continuing work on that, and
The
hopefully,
slog.
yeah, sometimes it takes a little longer than we expect.
Oh, there you go.
Any other workshop business? And if not, communications and miscellaneous.
Just communication and miscellaneous. Council did vote to approve receiving a grant. I know Ms. Mears will probably give more detail on this to get help with writing the infill ordinance or visual guidelines, but very much looking forward to that. Those who came to the workshop with that was held here got to meet the person I believe that is going to be doing that for us. So very excited for that.
Any other?
Yeah, so as Ms. Berry said, we did receive the Certified Local Government Grant for $18,000 from New Hampshire Division of Historical Resources to work on the infill guidelines. It is in the process of going to governor and council for signature, so we're waiting for that, hoping to kick this off probably in July. We will have to go out to bid for this, but we have somebody that's interested in bidding, so we're looking forward to working with the Historic District on that.
All right. Any other communications miscellaneous? Seeing none, looking for a motion to adjourn.
So be it.
Second.
All those in favor of adjournment, raise your right hand. We are adjourned.